eroded away by the carbonic acid. I mean, look, people have these great videos where it's like, wow, this is so cool. They put fucking Coca-Cola on the back of their fucking bumper and it turns into chrome again. You know, that shit that you see happening to your bumper right now is going to happen to your fucking teeth. It's kind of how that works, no? So you have the sugary compound that is there already, now directly impacting your newly exposed teeth thanks to the high content of carbonic acid that is passing through your gullet, motherfucker. That shit's crazy. I sound completely unhinged with this cider, but that shit's like legitimately true. Everybody's got to stop drinking fucking Coca-Cola of any kind. Diet Coke, all of that shit, throw it out, man. You gotta get rid of that shit. It's not worth the pleasure. It's not a good pleasure to have. It's fucking horrifying. Just get rid of it. Fucking throw it away. Out with it. Far away. Don't even touch it again. Don't even think about it. And it's like a little bit of a harsh opinion, but yeah.
It's really good to clear this up. I was really confused about this recently. It's like, okay, well, is it like okay to drink Diet Coke? Because I was thinking like, oh, well, if you just like avoid calories, then it's not so bad, right? And then you look at the actual ingredients on that thing. You look at the nutrition facts, and it says, oh, 0 calories, 0 sugar. How wonderful, right? Then you look at other things like maybe sodium or aspartame as one of the top ingredients, and you're like, what's this chemical? What's this other one that I can't pronounce, right? 3 chemicals that I can't pronounce are on here. Let's go search up what the side effects of those are. Oh shit, maybe this is bad for me, right? When you search that up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, that's another thing that's an issue with calorie counting, right? Because it's largely inaccurate from many different perspectives. It's like this delusion that comes alongside of like a food pyramid description of how things are apparently supposed to work, which are fundamentally false because it doesn't actually work this way. And you can say, okay, well, you have to agree with the new science and not the old science, but I tend to live by, the old science here. You can disagree with what my fucking standards are, but I feel fucking great. And I'm insane, obviously, right? But like, how am I able to power my existence based off of the stuff that's apparently supposed to, be counterintuitive for my existence? Like, how does it work that I, as a person, have like a higher type of a more effective metabolism and ability to process certain types of information because my brain is fucking lubricated, that's what it feels like, than anybody else by comparison? How am I so fucking awake? How am I feeling so energetic all the time? What the fuck is going on there? Now, sure, of course, there's a little bit of caffeine that's at play in the context of the morning, which I think, it's a great thing. It's a nice thing that I do myself if I haven't slept in a while. Then, of course, I drink that as well, right? But that fades off during the day, and I drink a lot of water, as a matter of fact, as well, because I need to flush the caffeine out of my system so that the body doesn't feel like, oh my God, help me, man, I'm dying, I need fucking water, God damn it. That kind of shit happens,
Caffeine is incredible for the liver. Liver loves everything bitter, and caffeine, like being bitter, it's just like, there's some studies I was reading that it improves the
liver function. Of course, it's great, but I'm just saying, don't overdo that as well. I'm just saying that's like a part of the thing to kind of like illustrate, all the context here. Like, I'm trying to be as rich in my context as I can possibly be because I don't want to present any types of false information. And you have kind of an issue with me. This is an open format. This is an open common conversation. You have literally a fucking chat that's below the Spaces interface. If you feel like you have the need to publicly disprove what it is that I'm saying, you are most inclined. Hey, can you guys hear me? So a little cut out here. It's working? Yeah. Good mic check. Okay, yeah. So what I was saying is like, if you feel so inclined to, publicly voice your disapproval of these opinions, and if you actually find actual scientific evidence to back this up and present it in such a way that's actually kindly stated, don't be an offensive piece of shit and try to like rub things into people's faces, that's not how things work, then I'm actually willing to hear you out on it, maybe even elaborate as to why I believe that certain things that are, circulated by, elements of various nutritional magazines are completely fundamentally false. I mean, look, if you want an example as to how these people live their lives, I mean, I'd highly invite you to look at the person who wrote the article and look at their health status and say, is that something that I want for myself? Are they preaching what they say? Look at all the health specialists, right? I think legitimately, like, these people may even practice a lot of the things that they preach, and I think it's absolutely great because you can see the merit to their own statements, and their health status isn't something that I personally wish to identify myself with. Everybody has a different kind of like opinion on how health is supposed to work out. And personally, if I look at that, I think to myself, this is not something I want for myself. So I get to express myself through my own fucking identity differently through science and all the ability that it yields me. That's how it works. You got a problem with that? You're just being discriminatory against my particular form of identification, bro. Like, fuck it off. Like, excuse me, hello. I do. Yeah. You get to identify as whatever you want to be. I get to too. You get to respect that shit. Like, using this whole argument against itself. Oh, wow. Oh. Yeah, fucking cyber is fine. There's like a small chance that the connection may break down. Is everything still working? Like, can you guys still hear everything I'm saying?
Yeah, everything's good.
Yeah. It's a very interesting and slightly heated space about nutritional things. I've like read into this a lot, man. It's insane. You could probably tell. This has always been like a highly contentious conversation for many people to have, even within my own friend circles, because people genuinely don't believe anything anymore, but they believe in all the wrong things. It's like confusion has been leveraged. That's I think it's very deconstructive for themselves personally. I'm not about how they live their lives. Everybody gets to make their own decision, as I do mine too, right? They don't. They get to do whatever they want, but they don't have to make over me, right? This is like how everybody should live their lives, and it's fucking awesome. Goddamn, what the hell is this? What the fuck is this? I swear that screen names that people have are absolutely fucking incredible. Oh, wow. Damn, there's some posts out here that like really be wilding. By the way, Elliot, what's happening on your end today?
Yeah, just some busy school stuff, man. Semester's kicking in, so it's hectic.
Yeah, I bet. Why did you even do that in the first place?
Do what?
Get into school, like, what are you learning for? Yeah.
Well, this is my second year of university, right? So it's like kind of carrying on from the first one, which there wasn't very much going for me. So now it's kind of just like continuing that. But I mean, like I'm studying computer science right now, right? So it's like it's not too bad, but it's more so just like the other classes, like English and stuff, and all these like stupid boring ones that aren't fun, right? Yeah, that's
Interesting. Yeah.
That's mainly where it is. But yeah, good to stay busy. I can't hear him talk. I'm gonna drop and come back.
Yeah. Because I've been like wondering, like, what is there left to do? What is there left to learn for someone like you? So, yeah, man. Crazy stuff.
There's lots to learn. There we go. I hear him now. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, dude, lots to learn. I mean, like, I could probably just go learn it on my own, but when you're in a classroom,
My second year of university, right?
Other people who are also motivated to learn about the same topic, right? There's like a lot of other things that you get other than just like intake of information. So that's like mainly why I go, just to, it's also the routine too. Like when you can consistently get up at the same time every morning and you get you know how much energy you're going to be like you're going to spawn in with during the day, it really helps you kind of lock in, you know?
Yeah. You're going to hear a lot of weird car sounds in the background, just FYI. I'm on the road. Occasional breakdown of internet connection is also entirely plausible, so just let me put a little FYI ahead of time there. So yeah, should be fun, should be interesting again. I don't like traveling while doing a show, but I do.
Sorry, Elon. We got boring. We got the best of you, I think.
So that was my little bit of a read up.
It's what? It's finished. Not finished? How old are you? She is. Have you seen her photo? Ellen Keller. Yeah. Damn, I'm sorry, Tyler. I'm sorry. So, I am fucking ignorant. That's what it is. I don't give a fuck if you think what I look like. You can shut your fucking mouth and show some more respect. Fucking goofy ass, rolling ass, fucking nobody. Why would you talk to your mother that way? Exactly. Yeah, you're gonna go.
I think Heron has been hijacked by his language machine.
Hi, Adrian. Hold on.
Hey, how's it going? I've been enjoying your Alan Watts, rooms. Been great.
Oh, good. Al Watts, he's my man. He's the guy that woke me up.
Yeah, he's really timeless. It's incredible how in 2024 he's more relevant today than maybe back even in like the 60s and 70s. It seems like his message today is more needed than even then.
Yeah. Although it's interesting, I still love listening to him, but I criticize some of the way some of this stuff is just really there's better ways to talk about it. But still, it's all good, even when it's not as good as it could be.
I was doing a Zazen class one time with this Buddhist monastery, and they had this VIP speaker from San Francisco who was like this real estate bigwig, like a very successful developer. And then I guess the rishi or the teacher said, "Does anyone have any questions, for this guy?" So I said, "What has your been experience? What have your experiences been with Alan Watts and Zen?" And then immediately the rishi or the guy who was conducting the thing and asked for the question said, "No, no, 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 no. We're not discussing Alan Watts." And so then the real estate developer was like, hold on a second. Like, I actually have an Alan Watts story I want to share. It's funny you asked that question. So then he went on to talk about how he met Alan in San Francisco. And it was like the craziest story you've ever heard. It was very funny. And the guy was like a totally enlightened being. And yeah, it was just incredible how it all worked out. Then they, quickly went to the next question. But I thought it was amazing how the connections with Watts. I mean, the name itself, Watts. It's electricity.
There's another guy. There's a guy named Alan Watt.
Yeah.
It's not.
On YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it has nothing to do with the stuff Watts.
Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of followers, though, that guy, maybe even millions of followers, that guy has gotten because of the name association?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Does he have millions of followers? Is he some big deal or what? I don't know.
I could look it up, but it doesn't matter.
I don't really care, actually.
I know.
It doesn't make any difference.
I know, but
Alan Watts, yeah, it's there for anybody who wants to listen to.
yeah, I was with this beautiful chick in Texas, and we were in her beautiful house on her couch, and I was like, oh, you got to hear this guy. He's incredible. I started playing Alan, and she's like, ugh, I don't want to listen to that anymore. I was like, whoa, you fucking bitch.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It makes some people nervous. A lot of people don't like that talk.
Yeah, I think because they're so highly conditioned on, their conditioning that.
Well, yeah, it threatens they've got a story about who they are and everything, and it's fragile. And Alan Watts calls all that into question, so that makes people uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're looking for the way out. So that is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, my uncle turned me on to Watts, and one time,
How old were you?
Probably 8th grade. The first book
Wow.
first book I bought was the book, and then I bought.
Oh, that's the best one too. That's my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, there were and I wasn't even using any intoxicants or anything, no drugs. I was just a young person. But when I read that book, I had like a tingling sensation throughout my whole body. Yeah, it was like this. It was like Kundalini. It's like pure Kundalini. It's freshman in high school, maybe.
Wow. So that was life changing for you. I mean, did that open up something that was new in your life?
It's so confusing then, it's like, it's all this new information, and it's just, you can't really understand it without comparative analysis or without relativity. Like it depends
on each person. In my case, it happened when I was 21, so it wasn't so big thing. But basically, I had this blinding realization that I didn't know anything, that I didn't know who I was, what I was doing here, what I could do. The whole story of my life just evaporated in about 5 seconds as I was reading a book of his, and I never recovered from that. I mean, from that moment on, it's been my old life was gone in 5 seconds, and I wasn't even looking for it. I mean, at that time, I was interested in sex, girls, TV, marijuana, and cars.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I was interested in. And this book fell into my life, and I never recovered from it.
I've listened to a lot of Ram Dass YouTube lectures, and there are times when I listen to Ram Dass where I'm just like, holy fuck, like this guy is beyond profound. Like he was great friends with Alan, and Alan told him, he's like, you're so based on the non-material that it's to your detriment, Ram. He's like, you're killing yourself, like get back into the material world. You're too anti-material. And that's the thing about all this wisdom, is it should result in material powers, or at least material control to a certain extent.
I'm always skeptical of the word should. I think each of us
No, what I'm saying, I'm not saying it's like a get rich quick thing. What I'm trying to say is that it should just help you deal with your everyday problems.
Well, yeah, that would be nice. Well, but again, I don't know. Other people have their choices. They make their choices based upon whatever. I assume it's Bob looking through everybody's eyes. And if I don't understand what they're doing or why they're doing it, it's okay.
Well, I regularly go into this Christian room on this app, and I say, I challenge anyone here to tell us the good news of the gospel in one sentence. No one can do it. No one.
So why do you go there?
Because it's kind of like what you said. Bob is experiencing himself through our visions.
Go in there and tweet. That's good. Just to poke a little bit. You never know. And it might work on somebody.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm doing it because like I'm creating content, but I'm also like a self-actualization hypnotist essentially, and that's kind of what I've realized about Alan is that he was really a public speaker, aka, all his lectures. He didn't get to benefit from his lectures financially in the way that it's probably monetized now. But even now,
He didn't get rich, but he lived well, traveled all over the world, and had a wonderful time.
Well, what I'm saying is he couldn't capture it in the way that a lot of these be here now gurus do now. Like Eckhart Tolle really commodified.
No, that's a different world, though. Yeah, this is just a whole different world now. Yeah, Alan Moss died because 73, so that was a long time. So it's 60, 50 years ago. It's hard to believe.
The thing is, when you listen to him, it's almost also like listening to somebody from a couple hundred years in the past because of our English language, our American English. It's like listening to a Victorian Shakespearean theater actor. And I think that is one of the allures to listening to him because he does have such a relaxing voice.
Yeah, it's sort of sophisticated, easy. And, no, I've heard all of his lectures many, many times. And like I say, he's the single most important person in my life. His book brought me into existence, really.
Have you read his autobiography, In My Own Way?
Oh, yeah, I've read all of his stuff.
Yeah, he was living in Chicago. He had no job. And so this was how he wrote a resume. He just wrote a list of all the books he's ever read and then presented that to the bishop in Evanston. And it was like, can you get me a job? And he was like, oh, absolutely. You've read all these books? He's like, yes, I've actually published a book on Zen. Like he was accomplished even at a young age because his first book to the Buddhist Lodge in London got published. So I've spent. Have you read R.H. Blythe? So Alan refers to R.H. Blythe quite often, and Blythe went to Japan and translated all the Japanese Zen documents into English, and it's called Zen and Zen Classics by R.H. Blythe. And when you read this, you're like, oh, like this is so good. And Alan really just amalgamated and incorporated so much into his lectures and his writings. It's just kind of interesting how there's nothing original, that like we draw from all these sources to create our own originality.
Yeah, we add a little phrase here and there, so we're cleaning it up.
Well, it's like we add the production, meaning that like if you're a public speaker and you create videos, video technology has only been around since like 1920s, 30s. Like this type of communication. Yeah. It's truly, liberation is like a double-edged sword. It can imprison you, or it can help liberate you. And
that's not, if it imprisons you, that ain't liberation.
Well, I was at the bar and I'm talking to this guy and I'm like, you know what a good analogy for the cell phone is? It's like the genie in the bottle. You're the genie and you got out of your cell phone and it's constantly trying to trap you back in it. So, I mean, have you seen people who are just hunched over looking at their phone? They look like they're dried
The thing
out.
I'm concerned with is that there's a deeper problem, and it's that people are identified, not their phones, they're identified with the voice in their head. They think the voice in their head is something that they are doing. They think that's them doing that voice in their head. And it's the realization that the voice in your head is just your language machine. It frees you from that. Because most people are literally stuck in the voice. They think that's me. That's me doing this. It's me that's talking right now.
Yeah. The voice, though, is activated by the environment. And, Watts likes to say organism, environment, organism. And
So it's
so,
all part of it. There's no beginning place anywhere. It's all integrated. But nevertheless, the voice is there, and however it came to be what it is, it's certainly not I. It's something that's happening to me. It's not something I am doing. Now, I can put myself in a position where I am doing it, but that requires some effort and training because most people are not trained that way.
so I do mantras to try to still the voice and
Right.
nullify it. And so I was like, every word is a mantra, and I was like, okay, let's do the word God and do a mantra. So I was like, go, God, go,
Listen,
and
any sequence of phonemes occupies your language machine, so it can't be doing other shit. That's the whole point of a mantra. It ties up your language machine.
Right.
And if you're going Uji Dama, or something, you can't simultaneously be saying, I think I'm going to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. Because your language machine is
right.
occupied with a mantra. That's
Right.
the power of a mantra.
So the word God, though, means go, and then if you inverse it, you get dog, and that means do. Go, do go, do. And
well, if you want to play that game, that's fine. That's all in the language game. I use it to get out.
No, but
to play.
What I'm saying is the do is not language anymore, meaning that the action or the karma is the nullification of the chronic speaker.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're using words that have some meaning for you, but they don't map on my language.
Meaning that the mantram or the mantra or the silencing of the mind, you don't necessarily have to do anything. But what I'm saying is, if you do take action and you do, that's like basically not speaking. And so a lot of people say, was there a point in human history where everybody spoke the same language? Tower of Babel type of theory. But my point is, everyone already speaks the same language right now, meaning that, like what Watts says, which is, he calls it the direct pointing method, which is, if I say water, you don't get wet. And so our minds are so powerful that these words, it's almost like reality.
This is what I've spent the last 40 years studying language and its influence on all this stuff and how it all works together. So I know what you're talking about.
No, I know you do, but so I bought books on mass communication theory, and like academic college books on mass communication theory, and there's so many breakdowns to communication theory and so many words that these professors, etc., talk about. But when you look at it, in terms of politics or business communication, having this awareness of really neural implants through words that, it's just, if you're not aware of it, you're not aware of it. But once you're aware of it, it's a game. But for me, the whole thing deals with anger management, meaning that, like,
well, for you, okay, that's good. Yeah, I used to have a lot of anger too for a long time. That's pretty much gone now. Yeah, I have a lot of anger up to my mid-40s.
Yeah.
Even after.
I mean, I just talked to my mom, and she's like, I need to tell you something. I need to give you some advice. It's like the most. It's like the worst advice you could possibly imagine. Like go outside, and, you
Listen,
know.
let me tell you something. Your mother is a brain damaged language mother. She loves you. That's the best you can come up with.
I know.
That's it.
I know.
And he loves you. And be grateful she's still around for you to love.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of crazy how love comes out. Because I don't know, she's like playing the devil's advocate, you know, and challenges you.
Now, listen, she's doing her thing. She was brought up by her parents in another universe.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
she's got a story in her head about what the universe is, what's important, and what's not, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and it's way out of date. So, well, I don't know her, but in any case, she's doing the best she can. It's not enough. She's
No, I know.
damaged language monkey. My mother was too. I hated my mother for a long time. It took me years after she died for me to realize that she did the best she could.
Right.
It wasn't very good, but it was the best. And I can't complain. I'm still here. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Is it? I've been watching a.
best you can do.
I've been watching a lot of bird videos, and when I watch bird videos, that to me is like the Zen understanding of life, where these, you know, this language machine is fucking us over in so many ways. You know, it's just like if you really were able to analyze your memory and think about all the unnecessary communication you've had in your life and all the frustrating communication, you're like, fuck, man, I should just be like a bird.
Well, you can. That's how you meditate.
Yeah. It's amazing when
How old are you? How old are you?
41.
Okay, 41. And how long have you been meditating?
I guess 2000 and fuck, what year would that be? 2010 maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so a decade, more than a decade.
Yeah.
And you what? Twice a day, once a day, every day?
Yeah, twice a day, yeah.
Okay, and you use a mantra.
I do mantra and I do yoga in the sun. Yeah.
Okay, well, yoga. Okay, I do yoga too. That's another kind of meditation.
Right. Right.
But yeah. All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
Sounds
There's
like you're just
Jer-
going on the path.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld, he wrote a book called This Is It. And he's like a big TM, transcendental meditation practitioner.
Yeah.
And same with that guy that did that movie Dune, the director, I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, but what I like about Seinfeld is he doesn't use profanity in his comedy, and he's worth, you know, $1 billion because there's no profanity. It's so, you know, if you choose your words wisely, it's always to your benefit. You know, bad language makes for bad feelings.
Well, I get no quarrel with that. I don't have any particular.
I mean, it's kind of a joke because that's what RoboCop said. But
Yeah, I've said it. Yeah, I mean, it's not very effective. I mean, I think occasionally it can be very effective, but normally it's just lack of linguistic skill.
right. So, I mean, I've been on your Gendo site. I was like blown away with your huge amount of wisdom, your wisdom list that I guess you've been collecting, and that was an awesome read. I was going to turn it into an audiobook for you, but then I guess I never did it.
Listen, I didn't hear any of that. I was in another room. I was yelling, wait. So say that again.
I said I was on your website maybe like a year ago reading all your wisdom stuff on the Gendo.
Oh, that stuff. Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
I was going to turn it into an audiobook for you, but I never did it.
An audio, just, yeah, that's right. Have something read it and record it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be easy to do, wouldn't it? That's trivial.
You should do it. I mean, put it on YouTube.
No, I'll wait for you.
I mean, it's just opportunity cost. It's like, do I want to read that or do I want to read a book? You know, I got so many books in my house. It's like I never.
Well, no, that's not meant to be read. That's sort of like an e-cheat. You just open it up and just randomly look and see what pops out.
Well,
That's the way I use it.
I've been recording the Tao Te Ching for a while, and I Ching, Tao Te Ching, Dhammapada by Buddha. Have you read the Dhammapada? So that's Gautama Buddha's, or the writings or the teachings of Gautama Buddha, and it's incredible. It's called Dhammapada.
I'm familiar with that stuff. My bibliography is fairly broad, also, but I don't describe. Yeah, just because something's old doesn't really interest me.
Well, it's like a direct transmission of wisdom. I mean, don't knock it till you try it.
Well, but that wisdom can be directly directed at somebody today. It doesn't have to be done 3,000 years ago.
No, it's
I don't know.
it's totally relevant. I'm just telling you, man, from somebody who likes Alan Watts, if you haven't read Dhammapada, it's very short and very succinct.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's probably a PDF easily available somewhere, I would imagine. And how is it spelled?
Dhamma, Dhamma. I'll put it in the chat for you.
Okay.
You can just go on YouTube and listen to the audiobook. There's people that have recorded it a gazillion times. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
This is fake. I mean, he didn't write anything. This is, like the gospel sort of thing. Is people after him wrote this stuff down, claiming that he said all this stuff.
I don't know if that's how they frame it, like as in the Gospels. I'm not sure about that.
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, Buddha, Gautama didn't write anything. Other people around him wrote down stuff about him.
Sure. Sure.
So anyway, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I can get you the. Anyways, you'll find it on YouTube real quick. But then the other document,
Okay, yeah.
look up. It's called the Shin Ming.
Yeah.
It's the Faith Mind or Perfect Mind, and that one's incredible. It's just one document. It's not a book. And one of the verses says, "The more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get."
Yeah, well, that's if you don't know how to think, that's true. That's not always true. That's true for 99% of people. But once you've extricated yourself from the language machine, then thinking isn't necessarily a problem. It can be actually useful at times.
Oh yeah. But I mean, have you ever caught yourself having so many thoughts where you're like, "Wow, this is totally unnecessary"?
Oh well, listen, I spent the last 50 years exploring meditation and language. If you looked at my bibliography, it's pinned to the thing above.
Let me see.
So
This is pretty cool.
actually, the thing is, I'm really not searching for anything anymore. At least not in the so-called spiritual realm.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for
I get it. So I have so many books, and it's like, oh wow, this is great.
Well, it's good to have a lot of books. I read a lot. I probably read between 4 and 6 hours almost every day for more than 40 years.
Whoa.
That was what I did, and that was a real good thing for me to do. But I sort of did that, and I'm doing something a little bit different now. I've got a story that I'm comfortable with. I don't feel any need to change it all that much unless something happens and I need to. But the story works. So now I'm more about like doing something in the world, getting some information out, and having some impact.
Yeah. This one book is called Emergence, The Connected Lives of Ants by Stephen Johnson. And I've been recently killing ants on my property, and I bought a bunch of books on ants because I was just so amazed at how resilient they are and intelligent. And I'm just like, our perspective of not being like on the ground at their level. I mean, can you imagine ants like talking to each other, saying like, "Fuck, he's back."
I don't kill any insects anymore. I mean, I still do. But even ants, if I find an ant one, and when it's summer, it's hot, the ants come in the house and it can become a problem. And I found one Anyway, I used to saw them actually just sweep them off my arms. I found one on here, but now I blow them off.
Yeah, I wish I didn't have to kill them, but they're like infesting the wooden structure, and I'm just like, I can't have them destroy it.
Yeah. Well, once you get to you can maintain a boundary, and they'll stay outside, do what they do out there, and keep out of the places you don't want them.
Let's see here. Zen Flesh, Zen Bones. Yeah. Zen Beginner's Mind by Suzuki. That's a really Suzuki really puts out some really interesting stuff, and it's just amazing because he's so Japanese that when an American delves into what he's talking about, you're like, huh. It's Alan Watts, Psychotherapy East and West. Robert Anton Wilson. Yeah, Wilson. I heard I've heard some great things by him.
Yeah, Wilson's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
there's so many enlightened people floating around the planet these days.
So like the thing about the cannabis, I mean, I don't think I'll ever probably stop consuming. I mean, I'll limit my consumption, but in terms of like a Friday night, a Saturday night, I'm not married, I have no kids, but like if I ever do have a wife, like I would like to institute a ritual or a ceremony with her that includes alcohol and cannabis, for lovemaking and meditational practices. But Anton Wilson was talking about how he's like, cannabis is that one substance that I always seem to come back to, and it always seems to have the most resiliency of all the chemicals.
Well, interestingly, I quit smoking about 5 years ago after smoking weed basically every evening for the last 45 years.
Wow.
50 years. Because it just didn't work for me anymore.
How do you feel, like your throat, your lungs, like how does all the years of smoking, do you feel healthy?
No, I didn't smoke it, but it didn't have much impact on me physically. I only took like 3 hits. Marijuana worked really great for me. My procedure was in the evenings when I was ready to do whatever I was doing. I'd take like 3 hits of some good weed, and that would get me through an evening of reading or art, music, or whatever I was going to do. 3 good hits put me in a place that I really liked. My brain was like exploding with new ideas that I hadn't had before. It was great. And it did that for like 40 years. And then it stopped.
Well, yeah, I know you think that we're going to go into like a golden age, or like we're getting very close to like some type of transformation. Have you seen the movie Dune, the old one or the new one with the Paul? What's like the author's name? So my point is, like, that has to do with like a Messiah or a Kwisatz Haderach that they call it. Delivers their people. It's the whole liberation theology. So I'm just wondering, like, how.
I think what's happening is people have to wake up and realize I am the Savior. There isn't anybody going to save us. We got to wake up.
Right.
It's us.
Right. And, Alan Watts has this one YouTube video on the Be Here Now network or whatever. It's called On Being God. So he gives a lecture for an hour, and then he says, yeah. And so at the very end, he goes, some of us are very keen to what Jesus was speaking about, and we don't talk about it lest we too be crucified. So, I mean, it just doesn't seem to me controversial anymore to have that conversation with, hey, guess what? But you are a part of the Godhead, or you are the prima causa. And if we want to solve anything, all these social cultural problems, it's like it's
all got to come from us.
Yeah,
we got to wake up.
Yeah,
the planet is what we made. This is what we've made. And again, I think what we've got got us here. This has been great, but the way we thought our life, again, it's our language issues. We need to upgrade our operating systems. Basically, the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The system we've got has been around for a couple 100,000 years. It's been great, but it is no longer adequate. We need to upgrade that system so we can actually think. And that's not that difficult to do. Next 2 generations of kids, we can teach that.
I mean, they tried so hard in the 50s and the like. Do you know who Rudolf Steiner is?
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of his books, and he had his own educational curriculum
Yeah.
platform, and it's just that's gone. Nobody's thinking about that. That's gone.
No, there's still places where little one-up places.
No, but I'm talking about public school systems, like.
Oh yeah. No, these are all private schools. Same with Montessori. There's a whole bunch of alternative school systems out there, curriculum.
I mean, if you could do
that's
a.
going to change. The AI is going to change all of that. Completely. The education system will be irrelevant. Yeah, it's an exciting time.
So that to me, listening is a big thing in terms of meditation, and this app has been pretty unique in the sense that we go from like video. We're so hardcore programmed on video, movies, and YouTube, but like when you come on here, you can't. Listening and speaking become the two commodities of exchange, and so many people are incapable of having a conversation because they're just always over talking each other, and that means that like no one's truly actually interested in listening. They're more interested.
They're not here for anything. I don't know why they're here. They seem to be entertained or something, but they're all a bunch of brain damaged language monkeys, and I don't see any point wasting a second in those rooms because you got 20 people on stage and everybody's talking at the same time. Well, that's a good place to observe insanity functions, but nothing's going to happen. Consequence in that space.
Well, my point is the word Earth. The first three letters are ear, and I was at the Copernicus Center for the Polish Fest, and I was looking at his map of the solar system, and instead of Earth, he uses the word Terra. So then I started looking up all the world's languages and how they use the word Earth, like even
Like Gaia.
yeah, yeah, Guy. Even so in Hebrew, there's a prayer you're supposed to say every morning. It's called the Shema, and if you look at that word she and ma, it's like she and ma. I mean, those are two aspects of it's the feminine, so gender. And anyways, I'm just saying that the word analysis, when this was the big thing I wanted to talk to you about, was astrology, because Watts says, hey, guess what, but you're the Earth. And you're like, huh, how's that possible? But if you're the Earth, that also means you're the sun and the moon and Mars and Neptune. And so how does that type of interstellar communication or reframing or awareness play into your life? Many women, I get the feeling that they're like neo-pagan witches, and they don't even know it, or or they actually are. But I get the feeling that astrology, and I've read a lot of books on astrology at this point. I'm not like some kind of master or anything, but I'm just saying I know that the secrets of psychology and the secrets of success are tied up in a lot of this mumbo jumbo astrology philosophy.
Yeah.
I just like it's easy to forget it, and so there's reminders today. Oh, and I created some AI artwork today. There's this incredible app called Copilot. It's a Microsoft product. It's called DALL-E. So my command prompt was take the planet Saturn, create 10 arms surrounding it, put a giant eye in the middle, and then surround it with the moon and the sun. And man, the artwork that I'm creating using astrological command prompts, it's like, fuck, I can make a business out of this.
Yeah, it's amazing. The AI is going to change everything. So many put hundreds of thousands of commercial artists out of work.
I mean,
people at Procter & Gamble hired thousands and thousands of artists to do their soup can labels, packaging stuff, and all that kind of stuff. And those people are all gone. 2 or 3 people with a good AI can do the work that thousands of humans.
Yeah. And even
do a better job at it too.
Even movies are going to change because you're not going to want to go sit in the theater. You're going to want to go write an essay or a command prompt and watch your own movie be created by an AI simulator.
Everything is changing for the next decade. So it's almost pointless to even predict, because I think whatever I can predict is probably going to go past my wildest imagination. It's already happened in music. I was in music in the early, when digital music first got started, first synthesizers showed up. That R2600 was the first commercial synthesizer. And I quit those. I quit that. I messed around with it for like a year and a half. I quit because I couldn't see them ever getting to what I wanted them to do. Anyways, like 2 years later, stuff was on the market that was so far beyond what my wildest imagination 2 years earlier was. I couldn't believe it. The new machines 2 years later just outstripped my imagination earlier. So that was humbling. And I'm assuming that's really what we're facing. That the future is beyond anything we're going to be able to predict.
Yeah, the software is getting really, really good. I remember when I bought my first Google Android phone at a T-Mobile store, and it was basically a useless device, literally. And that was like in 2007, So, and I remember getting my first text message and being like, fuck this, I got to sit here and click this all these times to write this shit. And now it's like we're live streaming and everybody's live and connected real time through video and picture and word and sound. And there's no more barriers, but there still is like the Cool Hand Luke. What we have here is a failure to communicate. And that's the problem. So,
well, but at least we can focus on the problem at hand.
So, but I mean,
that's what makes it a game changer. The next two generations of kids are
well,
going to change the world.
Well, Alan Watts, he talks about sensitivity training, which is like awareness training. And so unless these kids are doing yoga and calming their mind and realizing that they're going to get manipulated and gaslit by a propaganda system of commercialization and marketing, they don't stand a chance. Like, everybody's fucked.
That world is all fake. The world is collapsing. The world is programming them for that world is on its way out. Their chaos is coming. And they know it too. I think they know damn well all the stories that have told bullshit that it ain't going to work out that way. I mean, they may not be happy or even recognize it consciously. I think people know what's coming. And we'll see. They're just not ready to face it squarely yet. Because it's not bad enough.
Yeah. Not bad enough over here, but if you're in a trench in Ukraine.
Real bad. First world, we can sit around and sip our lattes still.
Yeah. If you're lucky, 4 people just got executed down the street from my house here in Chicago. So it's like, okay, got to be careful.
Yeah, it's coming. That's the thing, it's coming. Time is speeding up. There's more weird shit with more energy happening per units of time now. It's accelerating.
Well,
even between now and the election, who knows what game-changing events are going to happen in the next couple months?
Yeah, that's true. There's always these crazy gray swans, electric grid, stock market collapse, hurricane out here.
It's all sorts of shit. And if you just look at the last, for me, it was Trump's first. I guess that was in 2016. That was when Trump got elected. That shocked me into something. Is that the rate of change has hit a new level now.
Yeah, that's true.
They're really accelerating. The United States may be gone in less than 10 years.
What was I reading today? Trump is claiming that if Jewish Democrats don't change their vote to him, he said Israel won't even exist in 4 years.
He said that.
He said, I was like, damn, that's an all or nothing statement.
Boy, that's a good one. Yeah, Trump is just stunning.
He gave a speech. He gave a speech today at the New York Economic Club, and he called out Jamie Dimon from J.P. Morgan Chase. He says, "There's a lot of big banks here in this audience. Where's Jamie? Where's the biggest one of them all?"
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. See, I don't pay much attention to it. He's incapable of putting 3 or 4 sentences together coherent.
It's a rambling. Yeah, it's a rambling. You should have heard the speech today.
Well, no,
It's
I've heard one of his talks. You've heard all of them. So they're all the same.
this one was a little different because he's like whispering, and he's whispering in the economic club, like to a dinner party.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I have no interest in anything he has to say.
Well, this is the thing about.
That he's not going to be elected.
I don't think he's going to win. I think that Kamala's the
No,
fix.
it looks like she's got it going for her.
Yeah,
So,
she looks like she got it clinched.
I hope so. I mean, I never expected him to win the first time. I thought Hillary was going to win. I was sure. I was stunned when I woke up. Even that evening, it was clear. I mean, I just wasn't expecting that. So I'm still a little worried. It's not impossible.
Vladimir Putin endorsed Kamala Harris today on national television.
Putin did.
Yeah.
I wonder how much stuff is deep fake and how much stuff. Who knows? I don't. But the best thing is, any picture I see, any video I see, anything I see or hear, if it sounds too interesting, I think it's probably fake. I mean, most of the photos I see now, I don't trust, unless they're really boring.
Well,
I don't trust them.
What do you think about Timothy Leary, with the tune in, turn out, drop out? I mean, just like disconnecting from all this bullshit completely.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's got I think that may be a phase. I think you have to disconnect, but I think it's not an all or nothing choice. I think at some point in your development, you may pick one or the other. I dropped out, but I'm in the process of dropping back in now.
That's what Watts said. He's like, I was talking to my friend, this famous therapist, psychologist. He's like, now I'm trying to connect with everybody again. So we're like constantly rotating, turning. It's a dance. And sometimes, when he talks about politics, yeah, Watts says politics is like sleeping. First you lay on your right, you get tired of that, then you roll on your back, then you roll on your left, then you roll on your stomach. He's like, life is a dance. And so there's this book I read by this guy named Dr. Paul Foster Case called The Keys of the Tarot. And at the end of the book, the last chapter, it says, congratulations, you are now a member of the secret order of the Lords of Saturn. And then, what was the big takeaway? What was my point? Oh, is that he says that your new secret name is Eternal Dancer. So it's just like Watts. I mean, all this esoteric mumbo jumbo is to the grand revelation that you're the Eternal Dancer. I call my uncle regularly, and he's like, why are you calling me? I was like, just to remind you that you're the Eternal Dancer. He's like, oh, thanks. That's a good reminder.
Yeah, it is. I call it Bob.
Yeah.
Same.
Same thing. It's all good. I mean, there's a lot of charlatans, though. I don't get the feeling that Kamala is authentic. I get the feeling that she is going to...
She's a politician, just like all the rest of them. Listen, as I look at this election, it's a choice between jumping off a cliff or sliding down a ramp. I'm going to slide down the ramp.
Yeah, that's actually probably a better approach. But what do you think about censorship, though? Because, if you can't question a Pfizer product on YouTube, or a Moderna J&J product, and you can't question their products.
Yeah, I don't know how to deal. Depends on. Again, there's certain kinds of people who really are bad actors, and there are other people who are honest questioners, and it's not always easy to tell the difference, and that's a challenge.
I mean, do you think there is a global conspiracy? Because I'm getting the feeling that there is like a specter
Oh, no, I
organization.
think there are multiple global conspiracies. In fact, anyone who thinks there's only one conspiracy is an idiot. There are hundreds of conspiracies.
Yeah.
That largely overlapping, too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly, probably about 100 families on this planet that own probably 90% of everything. And they don't have to have meetings to know what's in their advantage. They know what works and what doesn't. But again, those people are human beings who are also beginning to wake up. In fact, they got a better chance of waking up than the poor people, because they've got the time, access to information. So that may be the way it works, is that they'll wake up and realize that it's time for a change.
Well, do you know that movie Clockwork Orange, when he goes into the jail and they do the MK Ultra on him? They start doing the eye drips and he's watching all these movies. But he rejects the programming because they play for him his wonderful Ludwig van Beethoven or whatever. Because he was already conditioned on that music, their MK Ultra programming his consciousness couldn't take it, because he loved the music. If he never heard the music, it probably would have took. But because he knew it was already programmed. He was like, "You bastards!" He rejected it. So I just get the feeling that, I think his name was Bertrand Russell or something. He was giving a talk about how he thinks that science is going to invent a happy pill or a happy chemical, which I think is just like the metaphor for LSD or something. But even drugs don't seem to give the patient the happiness that they want, or constant happiness or stable happiness. But I get
What most people want is insane fantasy land bullshit happiness. It's just empty bullshit.
Yeah, but emptiness, as you know, Alan Watts talks about the nothing, and how nothing or emptiness creates something. And so what I'm saying is, there's a philosophical educational problem in America, which is so chronic and everywhere, that without philosophy, or really the teachings of Alan Watts and the people and the information that he absorbed to synthesize his information, without really researching that, I don't get the feeling that anyone can ever achieve a state of happiness, or at least being able to explain the gospel in one fucking sentence.
Well, listen, I don't even give a shit whether anybody can explain that, or whether everybody.
Well, it's the statement that eternal dancer. That's all I'm saying, is people can't get to the eternal dancer part of the book because they're not reading anything.
That's their choice. If in fact everything is the eternal dancer, there are no mistakes. The eternal dancer chooses to play that role out without realizing that it is. I mean, that's the whole game. So if it chooses to continue in the illusion, that's its choice. Grant them that ability and move on. And there are other people who are ready for change.
Well, this is like the Buddha, or the Bodhisattva, returning to share the good news, to keep waking people up. Because one of the maxims of Buddhism is I vow to awaken every sentient being as long as I can.
That's one thing. Listen, if that's what you want to do, listen. Once you wake up, you can do any fucking thing you want to do. You're you. Do what the fuck you want to do. Wake everybody else up. Don't cut your toes off. I don't give a shit. Wake up. Whatever you do is up to you. Period.
I know, but by helping people wake up, you constantly remind yourself that to wake up.
I'm not worried about waking up. I'm awake enough. I'm awake enough to, if I get more awake, that's great. I'll take it. I'm sure there are people who are more awake than me. I don't need to be any more awake than I am right now. I'll take it, but I ain't looking for it anymore. I have work to do.
Well, I mean, work is like play. If you can't make it play, then it's not really good work.
Well, of course. It's fun.
Do you wake up every morning feeling happy?
Absolutely, man. I am here to participate in the transformation of the planet and the ability to wake up feeling that somehow I can be embedded in that process. And part of it is energizing.
Yeah. I mean, if you're plugged into the universe, it is, that's what Watts talks about. It's like walking 3 feet off the ground.
Plugged into the universe. You can't not be plugged into the universe. The only issue is what kind of story you're going to put up
Yeah.
all your experience.
that well, then does that just become aesthetic then?
Well, I don't. There are lots of ways to look at it. There isn't any one truth here. There are multiple ways to view this thing on multiple levels. I see it as Earth itself is a living organism that's undergoing a metamorphosis of some sort, and that we can be seen as something like an embedded subsystem. Actually, something similar to the astrocytes in our own brain. We are participating in the construction of Earth's nervous system right now. We're sort of like the astrocytes of Earth's brain. We're building it for it. Anyway, that's not the truth. That's not the way it is. It's just the best story I've been able to come up with.
I do yoga in the sun every day, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And sometimes when I do yoga in the sun, I do visualizations where I'm like a seed in the sun, or I'm in the center of the earth, or when I do, a pose, I'm like trying to circulate energy between me and the earth. They're just fun visualizations.
Yeah.
And, when you look at all these ants, you're like, oh, fuck, I'm just an ant.
That's right. Oh, and not just Alex, I think we're significant. We are a significant subsystem, embedded subsystem of the living, developing Earth.
Yeah.
And like I say, we have something to do. We're building its brain. And it's virtually within the next 3 or 4 years, that brain is going to surpass all of humanity's abilities, and Earth may very well wake up.
Well, don't you think it's already awoke, but we're building this AI information network across the face of the earth?
I think it didn't have its brain. That's what we're doing. Just like a baby, they don't show up as an individual for about a year or more. When they come in, their large language model is programmed. So the minute they're brought in, people start, loading up parameters in their large language model. They're talking about it. And after a couple of years, it's loaded up enough, a cell shows up.
So
that's what happens.
If the earth is like a hive and we're wasps that will eventually expand and go multi.
Earth isn't like a hive. That's not what I'm saying. Earth itself is a living organism.
Yeah, I know. I get it. But what I'm saying is this living organism is like the Death Star, meaning that it has airplanes in it that can fly out of it and go to other planets with these.
It's got all sorts of stuff,
yeah. So like Watts says that maybe planets or Earths eventually explode and become stars, and that's where all the stars came from, or the opposite of that. But
I don't know. I've never heard Watts proclaim that.
He did. He said that. He said it's possible that these.
I don't care if he said it. He said it. That's a pretty dumb theory. I mean, it doesn't come.
Well, he was addressing the nuclear problem, and that's what Trump talks about a lot too, which is nuclear warming.
What nuclear problem? What are you talking about?
At the atom bomb.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
Because he claims, he made a statement once. He said maybe stars come about from Earth's destroying themselves in nuclear war.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody said that one. Maybe Alan said that's just.
Alan said it's not like it means anything. He's just hypothesizing it. But what I'm
whatever. Yeah. So Alan probably had lots of passing stupid thoughts. I have passing stupid thoughts. I say things that I think afterwards, well, that was dumb.
Well, if the planet is alive, that means that the planet has a consciousness.
No, it doesn't necessarily mean that at all. That's your assumption. I don't know what it means.
Well, to some extent.
What Earth is.
I mean,
it's just an analogy. It's a story. I think I'm saying Earth is like that. There obviously it's not really like a bear, or something. It's something unique and different in the universe that I can't possibly.
Yeah, it's celestially intelligent, though. I think for sure. There's no way that all this.
You've got all sorts of.
It's programming. It's definitely biomechanical engineering programming. I mean, it's programmed to do to operate to, especially with the atmosphere and weather and the sun. I mean, everything is totally programmed so perfectly. Anyways, but what my point is that in terms of like Earth consciousness versus solar consciousness versus galactic consciousness.
Yeah. Listen, I don't care about that. I got it. That's probably the next phase. I'm just trying to get us through this one for Earth, getting up to the Earth level. Yeah. Next step. Clearly, Earth is nothing without the sun. Without the sun, there ain't nothing going on here. But I just want to deal with an Earth thing for now. The sun will deal with that next.
So, how do you view history versus the eternal now?
Like embryology, you can look at the way a single cell develops and goes through all these processes. In a sense, it's history. Yet you can do the same thing for the planet. You can look at the changes it's been through over billions of years and talk about that on multiple levels. Or you can talk about just the human part of the last 10,000 years or so. History is. What do you mean by history?
Meaning that if there's only the now, and I have historical artifacts that I know that there is a chain of succession of progress or deprogress.
Listen. If you want to play that game and try to find the answers to all that stuff, good luck. I've played that game for years. I gave that one up.
What game?
I can't. There are a whole bunch of things I just accept as mysteries. I don't understand how they work or why they work or anything. I've got stories about it. I've heard other stories, but I'm tired of fucking around with them. I don't give a shit anymore.
Who? I can't. I didn't follow you. Who or what?
Stories about
history.
All about everything. About trying to understand what the universe is, who I am, who's looking through my eyes.
Right. So, I mean, after you get through all the thoughts, I mean, what do? Just start playing music? Because that's what I basically, I observe people do the same thing. I knew a guy,
It's not like after I get to okay, now I'm done with that. It's just about how I get up in the morning, what kinds of, how I think, what I do with my time. I don't think about this kind of shit. I do very little abstract thinking. I mean, I do some because I'm still involved in some research and linguistics and stuff, but it's really pretty limited to very specific things. The rest of the time, I'm hanging out with my dogs. There ain't much going on in my language machine.
I bought this. I went on eBay and I typed in Alan Watts CDs, and this one guy who's a big fan of Watts, he made a lot of money in tech in Silicon Valley. He's passed away now, but it was called Centerpoint Research. And I have the CD, and he talks about Alan Watts and Buddhism and philosophical concepts. But then Centerpoint Research, I went to their website. He created some type of audio meditation technology, and I think it's just a sound or a recording, but it's to basically, I think, to try to relax you, and center you and use it as a meditational tool.
There's a bunch of stuff about audio stuff. There are half a dozen programs.
Right.
Audio things they're supposed to tune your brain.
Right. It's that. I think it's a crack of shit, personally.
Well, whatever.
I mean, because you can just do your own mantra. It's better to just do Om. Yeah.
Maybe they won't. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, all right. Well, it's been fun as always, and I love talking to you, and I love hearing your Alan Watts stuff, because every time I hear Alan, I'm just always like, every time you hear it, you're just like, damn, everything he says is just so incredible that he's profound. I mean, and his influence on the culture and global culture, not just Americans, because I think a lot of people overseas listen to him, especially non-native English speakers. he's transforming people's lives with incredible philosophical information. Yeah.
Yeah, it amazes me that he's still being listened to. Probably, yeah, he continues to spread his ideas. It's a good world.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing too, because everybody, in Christian churches as well, they're so hungry for the spirit or for wisdom that Alan is who they often quote in their sermons because,
Really?
oh yeah, I've heard. I was very depressed once, and I knew this very wealthy guy who was like my business mentor post in college or whatever, and he sent me some Protestant Baptist preachers CDs, from his church. And he starts talking about Alan Watts and the good wolf and the bad wolf and what we feed ourselves. And I was like, holy shit.
That's great. Well, it's good. Yeah. That's why I'm so optimistic. I think the world is waking up.
Yeah, it's very true. I think I just worry, like I look at a family member of mine or I look at people that I meet and I'm just like, damn, these people aren't getting Alan Watts.
No, listen, most of the people are still doing the caterpillar business, and that's their job. The old order is collapsing, but it needs to be maintained. It's like when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. A lot of the cells are committed to maintaining the caterpillar while some other cells are building the butterfly.
Yeah, that's true.
So you just have to, don't worry about it. Some people are ready to change. A lot of people aren't. And so if they're not ready, if you don't see a clear sign that they're interested, thank them politely and move on.
Yeah.
Because there are people who have questions and are beginning to, wonder about things. Those are the ones you want to give your time to.
It's amazing how, there's all these black and white rooms on this app or black rooms or whatever, but it does seem amazing to me how white Americans and black Americans are somehow like bound or binded in time and history and culture. And yet they're so radically different, but together it's, like Marcus Aurelius says, it's like we have upper eyelids, lower eyelids, upper teeth, lower teeth. Like you need both of them to make the secret sauce. And it's like, if you like Motown or music, you're like, okay, well, if all these racial identity politics rooms are so toxic because they're not spiritual and they're essentially just political. But then when you listen to the music, yeah.
It's all, listen, there are a bunch of brain damage language monkeys. There may be individuals in there, though, who are rescuable. But, it's just nothing but pathology. Any room that's got more than 20 people on the stage at the same time is toxic.
Yeah. Okay, well, God bless and have a great night. It's been fun to help. Thank you for helping me clarify my thoughts, and God bless you as always. Take care.
Yeah, that's right. Good night.
Thanks, you too. Bye.